Hey, it's Carrie Joe.
Hey, it's Anna. Join us as we learn new things, challenge our assumptions, and grow as people. Welcome to the Heretical Hippies podcast.
In this season, we are going to explore the intersection of curiosity and wonder, and hopefully develop some fresh ways to see the world and ourselves. So come along for the ride, or don't. Either way, we're going to hit record.
Welcome, Heretical Hippies, to the Heretical Hippie podcast. And I'm here today with my awesome friend Jake.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to do this because this is some of my favorite stuff to talk about. Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to talk with you guys. I hopefully have some things to make you think about or disagree with.
So, Jake and I have known each other for 30 years. We literally had kids at the same time, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I was like at the hospital the morning after each of his children were born, and we did church together and then just have kind of kept in touch a little here and there throughout the years and came to find out that Jake has gone through his own little deconstruction as well. And so, yeah, it's an honor to have you on here today. Also, too, you're a loyal Heretical Hippies fan, which is
I am. Yeah.
so encouraging. Like you've listened to every single episode. Like I think we need to send you like an award or something because
It's okay.
that's pretty awesome. Okay, I wanted to hear. Let's do the little tour of Jake's life. Let's hear the story of your upbringing and mainly just focusing on your the 5 cent tour of your religious upbringing, particularly.
I was born and raised in Southern California in San Diego County, and just it's a little small town. It's called Ramona, and basically just went to the country evangelical church. It's just like a Baptist kind of church. And I went there until we moved, or my parents went there. I wasn't connected. I mean, I would get saved at like church camp every couple years. So it wasn't like it affected my life in decisions. I was not trying to have harmony with God. But so I grew up down there, and then we moved up to Oregon when I was in high school. So that was a huge dynamic change for me because this is pre-internet. And so, I was really a fish out of water, didn't really fit anywhere. And when I was up there, I had a friend and she had died, and that mortality of my mortality really hit me. And then that's when I started to like, wait a minute, what is really going on in this reality? And as far as spiritual, because I'm going to kind of just follow that vein, when I was a kid and I was 13 years old, I had a little birthday party, slumber party with my best little friends, and something happened that I have not stopped thinking about. I've never stopped thinking about it. And some of my friends that are there, we've talked about it over the years. And this is going to sound weird, but that's okay. We were watching a movie and I turned and looked behind me, and I looked into the kitchen and I saw white legs walking through the kitchen, just legs. And I turned back like this, and my one of my best friends, who I still talk to all the time, I've known since we were 5, he looked at me and said, "Jake, did you just see white legs walk through the house?" And I was like, "You just saw that?" I mean, even now thinking about it, I kind of get goosebumps. And it was absolutely real. We were looking everywhere. We went upstairs to see if it was my sister. Like, I don't, it didn't make any sense. She was completely asleep. And talked to my friend a few months ago that I hadn't talked to in a few years, and I wanted to bring it up to him just to see if he remembered it. And he brought it up to me. He said, and he
Wow.
was like, "I hadn't seen that. I didn't see it, but I knew that you guys saw it because it consumed the night." And that moment I've reflected on, I know there's more than what we see. And I don't care what anybody says, it was real. And the fact that my friend tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Did you see that?" And I had seen it. That's where there's more to this life than
Mm.
flesh and blood permeating in my head. A f- And it absolutely scared me. I was absolutely terrified of this. And another thing that had happened a few months later, the power had gone out, and I turned and I looked into our kitchen and there was a woman standing. And I was sitting at the couch with my mom and my sister was sitting on the couch with her dad. And I absolutely freaked out, crying. I was just I ran, grabbed my dad. Oh my God. And that was kind of it. And then basically in my 30s, my mom and sister told me that while I was crying and going crazy, they saw the lady standing there as well, but they didn't want to tell me because they didn't want me to leave the house. So I
Wow.
know that's wild. This all leads to something that I promise this is leading somewhere.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always known in my heart that there's more than our perception. I mean, science tells us that. We can't see infrared, we can't see all these things that are happening around us. And so that's something that's was permeating in my life. So I, went to church. When I was in high school, I led like a Bible group at school. I was trying to save people, I wanted to save people. I wanted to do what was right. After high school, that's kind of when I met Anna. We were all really trying to, we're trying to follow Jesus. We're trying to follow Christ. And our little girl had just been, my second daughter had just been born. I got sick with like the flu, and then I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. My hips, every joint in my body was completely inflamed. And so, we going to the doctor. I get, in a wheelchair to the rheumatologist and all that. And I found out through some blood testing and other stuff that I have a disease that's called ankylosing spondylitis. And basically, what that means is it's an autoimmune disease, and my body is just attacking me. So every little joint in my body, everywhere, is just constantly at war. That is a crazy thing to have to go through. And we all go through our things, but I have tried to find the gift in it. Because
Mm.
whatever happens to you, you don't know why it happens. You don't know what the path is. And I don't believe everything is just some random fucking chance. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really, I really think the gift that God gave me, because it really helped to break what I like to think of as perceptions. So I was going to, a church. I wasn't involved in a home church or anything like that. I was, just going to like some kind of regular church at that time. And I realized, oh my God, I got to do something because my body's going to fall apart. So I started going to school and I went to Warner Pacific and their religion program. And when I entered that program, they would say, like, hey, who believes the Bible is literal? And I was the only person that would raise my hand. So I was not, I was, like, hey, this is what I believe. I'm not going to fake it. So going there, it was great because my body was falling apart. And so it was perfect timing, because at the same time, I was learning a lot about religion, about Christianity, all religions. And at the same time that I was learning these things and starting to see, like, wait a minute, we don't even know where some of these texts come from. Wait a minute, there's all these different ways that you could read this.
Mm-hmm.
And then starting to see people say, God wants you to do this, and me thinking, are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Like, I think that this is an opinion. So those things were happening at the same time that my body's falling apart. And a thing that really, I'm so glad that somebody did, but they came to me and they said, you know what? Multiple people, but you need to pray that God will heal you. And I remember saying, how come you don't say that to a blind person? Why don't you walk up to a blind person and say that? Do you not have faith? Do you not believe that God can do it? And I said, you know why you don't do it? It's because you're wrong.
Mm.
What if this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me? What if this, you have to be open to what is happening to you, even if it makes no sense. And nothing helps you feel a separation of your soul and your body than your body fighting you. I mean, we've all probably gone through bouts of that in your life. Just imagine that fire's turned on and it never turns off. And that's how I've tried to see it. I've tried to see it as that blessing. So when those things happen, that's where I stopped going to church, because I started to realize This is all about perception.
Mm,
The interactions, everything that's happening is your perception of your relationship with God and what's happening around you. Money is such a huge part of this. Years ago, my mom, and she loves going to church and all that. And I would never discourage someone from going to any church. I would never discourage anybody from going to any religion because to me, if you're curious, that's what's important and you're seeking. And I've been always curious. And I realized that these folks aren't curious. This is a place where it's not everywhere, but for me, I was seeing it where this is just about perceptions, not truth to what I wanted to do. And so at that time, I just never went, I've never taken my kids to church ever. And my mom and people and my kids used to say, like, how come you don't go to church, Dad? And I loved used to say this. I'm like, we just don't make enough money. We don't have enough cash. I'm sorry, but we need every penny we got right now. And I used to say that, and people would say, like, please don't say that. I said, well, come on. I've never seen anybody be anything at church that didn't have money.
mm,
Right.
mm.
And isn't that a tell? And this is your life and your being is between you and God. These fact that churches don't study Hebrew or Greek and these things, it's not even encouraged showed me that they really didn't want to get into the deep part because people don't want to be questioned. This is a denomination. This is a blah blah blah. I just didn't see the openness to what was possible or fallacies within those organizations. Um, and so that was kind of how I slowly deconstructed from the mainstream kind of evangelical thought. And I'm very thankful that I did because I have never told my kids like what to believe. And really for me, it's all about my kids because that's who I'm leading in this life for a little bit of their lives at least. And I've told them I want them to be free thinkers. God is true, God is real to me. I know it. There's more to this life than this. But I wanted them to be open. And I didn't want my my perceptions to inhibit them of what their relationship with God would be. Because there's so much that I can't control about my body and all that. So I didn't really want to control them. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like the
Sure.
connection between like you can't control anything. So what in the world would I want to try to control my kids? And I don't see these places as something positive because I see them dividing people. I see them pushing people away, not pulling them in. And I'm painting with broad strokes, but really that's what we're here to do.
Sure. So I was thinking about with your kids, like a lot of Christians they want to control the environment their kids are in because they want them to be pure or they want them to know Jesus and they want to eliminate quote unquote the enemy's influence, right? In their lives. So like there's a very clear like duality of perspective going on there. So you're giving your kids autonomy to make their own choices and experience because you're like God's there no matter what. This is what I'm
Yeah,
hearing you say, right? It's funny because like I feel like beliefs in general evolve with time. The
they
more you
do. They should.
experience, the
They
more you
should.
know. Exactly, the more you start to gain different understanding. And like you said, your perception changes with time because of experience, and so then your understanding of what you think is the spirit world is gonna change with time, right?
Yeah.
And so it is tricky because then when you try to impart that, like let's say that one's perspective that you had at one point in time onto your kids, it's almost like you're stunting their growth. Like if I take what I thought God and spirituality was all about at the age of 25 and I just like, kept pouring that into my kids, by the time I'm 30, 35, and I'm still teaching that same perspective, like then that means my perception hasn't changed. My experience hasn't taught me anything either because I'm not paying attention probably in the ways that are going to teach me that my perception needs to grow, right? And so I feel like in a way it stunts our kids and our relationships because we stay in that same perspective over and over and over again. And so I love that you have given your kids so much freedom and that you're not trying to like control everything that they're doing, because it, man, it's got to make them want to communicate with you more about where they're at too.
And what's nice is I sometimes won't even give them any answers.
Mhm.
They'll be like, "Well, why do you think this?" I'm like, "Well, why don't you figure out why you think what you think?"
Mm.
I mean, I think I believe what I believe, and that's how I've always I've never said I'm right. Damn it, you know.
Mhm.
Trust me, I do, but not about those kinds of things, like
Mhm.
eternal kind of whatever things. One thing is I've always had icons up in our home
Mm.
because for me, like basically for me, I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what name you give God. I don't care if it's a she, a he. I don't care. Our names are arbitrary. It's for me, it's about harmony. Do you seek to have harmony with God? Do you seek to have harmony with the Creator? How can I go and tell some Buddhist who is trying to do that he's wrong? Does God need my words? Does he not know? If he seeks something, he will know. If he's struggling with sin, do you think he's not going to figure it out? And here's the thing I really am excited about. We live in the time of the internet. We live at a very special time. We don't even understand how special this is. For the first time in known history, we can communicate. Not with everybody, some countries are closed off, but if you want information, you can find it.
Mhm.
And for Christians and people that have gone through deconstruction, this is going to keep happening because if you're seeking, if you're curious, if truth is what matters to you, if a club was matter, if it being a club matters to you, then you're going to be in your club. But if you're always trying to seek truth and harmony, the internet is incredible.
Mhm.
I think that the internet is a new reformation
Mm.
for religion and Christianity. And we are in it and we know it's happening, but I don't think we can actually grasp. And we don't have the perspective, but we will. The information and things and experiences and people being genuine can be seen. You can hear it. It's not manipulated. It's hard to manipulate and control these things. And I think that we are at a very special time.
Mm.
And something that I've thought about a lot, I've thought about this a lot, and I've thought about why am I born in this time and how lucky am I am? And something I've thought intensely about that I want to talk about on here is, and it connects with the deconstruction. Imagine, imagine you, Anna, and you, Carrie Joe. Imagine we go to a planet and we've got all their writings, we can observe them, we see everything, and we can see them living in harmony with God. And imagine that we study them and we start to understand that we have a lot in common with them. And I want to take that little idea and think about our ancestors that came before us to America and killed all the Native Americans, and we only saw America as a place of something to take from. What can we get? What if us Christians, what if we miss something extremely beautiful? Because there's a lot of stuff in the Native American religion and culture that is about harmony with God that we're too blind to hear and too blind to listen about. And I'm not saying, oh, this is for everybody, but if you can just listen, I think that we missed an opportunity when we came to this side of the continent. I think that we missed an opportunity and I think we missed something beautiful. But we have the internet and we're here now and I feel like we cannot miss that opportunity again in our lives.
Mhm.
I think that it's not a mistake that we came to America. I don't think it's an accident. Obviously it happened, but I think that there's a lot to learn, and I think that Christians have been absolutely programmed to not even consider the people that lived here, that our forefathers came to. And I think that deconstruction is our opportunity to listen to the people that were here before us in the place you live. Where you live in America right now, there is something Native American right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't care. Those people were here for thousands of years. They lived in harmony with the earth and they sought harmony with God. That is the point of their religion. Not
Mm.
for everybody. These are broad strokes. Whatever guy you don't like that happens to be Native American or some white Christian guy that's a complete dickhead. I'm talking broad strokes. And I really think that we miss an opportunity. And for me, like the church, when I think about prayer, it was a question I always had that I just never felt like I got the answer. It's always seemed like a list and like more of a conversation where a lot to me prayer is what we call meditation
Mm.
and we're not open to that. And the more that we understand things, and the fact I don't know enough about churches anymore to even know if they do this, meditation is such a huge thing. Always encourage my kids and anybody to do it. I mean, think about your phone. If you don't turn your phone off after a week or month, it doesn't start working right. And
Mm.
that's a stupid phone. You have to turn your brain down. You have to silence it. You have to turn it off while you're conscious. And the fact that that's not encouraged is, well, they're missing something. And so
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that's why, like, I can't be in a church because I have to be more open to all it. Does that make any sense what I'm saying? I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I know there's like, I agree with the meditation thing. I've experienced and know the beauty of turning my brain off and even getting downloads during that time. It's like I'm
Yes.
turning my brain off and then now all of a sudden some things become clearer to me, or it's like calming the waters, of my brain to where I can see my own
No.
reflection and
Any little thing where you're just like, wait a minute. I've had it happen just this week where I was like, I need to do this. And it absolutely fit in. But go ahead, Anna. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
no, yeah,
Sorry.
it's beautiful, like how we can, and even in a group setting, I'm actually in yoga teacher training right now, and we meditate every time we get together, and just for like 20 minutes, and it's actually really beautiful. Like sometimes I'll get downloads, not necessarily in the same way that I think I don't know. It sounds kind of kooky, but like I can see other people in different ways during my
Yeah.
meditation time. It's like I can understand. Um, I don't know, the increased empathy and like you said, a little bit more harmony, I guess, in my understanding and perspective about people in the classroom.
Yeah. Probably for the last 5 years, I've been trying to meditate, real consistently. And it's really been amazing, especially for me because I am in a lot of pain. And I will meditate sometimes for quite a while and I can feel an escape from my body. And I'm very thankful that God's led me down this path so that I could, because when I was going to church, people started, when you're hit with all these medications, when you have an autoimmune disease. And when you have pain, they want to put you on opiates. I mean, that's just it. And they had me on like almost 170 a month of Norcos, which is
Oh.
a ton. And I was taking it, but it just like anything, it just stops working. You know what I mean? Your body starts to build up that immunity. And so I realized, what is the end of this?
Mm.
And then my doctor, at one point, she wanted to put me on Oxycontin. And at the time, this is like probably 2010, I was like, isn't that the thing that people are robbing pharmacies for? Isn't that like heroin basically? And she's like, yeah, but this and this. And she wanted me to sign this thing. And I told her, I'm not doing this. What is the end here? What is the end of this? And I had already done this in the past, but I just started to use cannabis for pain.
Hmm.
And I remember people feeling that that was wrong, like Christian people. And I remember thinking, do you know how crazy it is for you to tell me that I should be taking an opioid? over something else. So you want me to take heroin instead of something that makes me feel good. I mean, that was just another control paradigm thing where I'm just like, okay, yeah, dude, this is insane. I'm not gonna listen to somebody that's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not seeking harmony with God. You don't care about what I'm doing. And I don't really want to bash on other things because we know the fallacy of other people. But
Sure.
uh anyways, that was another thing that had made me go, "Ugh, this is a control thing. I can't do this."
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm sorry, I'm just probably going on a tangent here,
No,
but anyway,
I do have a question for you though.
yeah.
Okay, coming back to the white legs and the woman that you saw as
Yeah,
a
yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Since there's been so many years since then, you know where I'm going with this. Like, what do
Yeah.
you think about those experiences now? Do you have any understanding or perspective about what you think was happening there?
Well, it's not like she's never come back and said, "Hey, it's me again."
Okay, that's good. I mean, I guess.
Remember me when I freaked you out? No, nothing like that. Although now I'm open if she comes. Hey, lady. I don't know. I definitely do think that it was a gift for me, sign that there's more to this life. I definitely do. For me, I perceive things I do as sin that I've done. I don't need to tell anybody else they're a sinner or whatever. I mean, this is a big thing, especially in Christianity. I don't care if you're gay or what. I can't see your reality. I can't experience your reality. I don't know what's going on. I want you to have harmony with God. And
Mm.
that's I if I can be a person or a piece of that, then I'll be blessed too.
So, would you say sin is anything that's distracting you from harmony with God?
I would see it's anything, yes, not distracting, but it's anything between you and God.
Mm.
I mean, if you're just watching porn all day and then, well, I'm going to go lead that Bible study or try to talk to I mean, you're just not going to have the same clarity because
Mm-hmm.
you're gunked up. I mean, one of the things like Native Americans, the way that some of their holy men say it is hollowing out your bones, getting all the gunk out so that God can breathe into you and that you can be a conduit for what he wants to do to help others so that you can be a person on this earth that God has harmony with so that you can be a benefit to other people and spread that. We live in a material world and we live in a world where money and things are so important. And I always tell my kids money is fake, money isn't real. Money is made by man. Money is not made by God. So don't get too crazy. If I had $1 million tomorrow, I'd be very excited. But I don't need it. I don't have to have it. You know what I mean? I've
Mm-hmm.
always tried to help them realize that what is man, I've always say this, and this is literally how I said it to my kids. I always say, I don't think God put us on this earth to buy shit that people made. Okay? I don't think that's what God did. I don't think God put us on this earth so you can buy the new fucking iPhone. Don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the reason. I think there's more, and I can't tell you exactly whatever reason is, and I don't think you may ever know exactly. How could you? Our perceptions are so limited to our senses, and we can barely feel outside, you know what I mean, of our senses to the spiritual world and all of that thing. Like, we have to absolutely turn everything down to even hear it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something I've always tried to instill in my kids. I try not to be too extreme if I can help it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously I have an iPhone, I've got a PlayStation, all that stupid shit, but that's not the point. That's not the point of this life is getting the new car or whatever.
Can
And
I can I
yeah,
tell you
yeah, go ahead, go
interject?
ahead.
Would you say sin is anything that distracts you from God, and you change the word distraction to
Oh God, I don't.
Like gets in the way
like
of.
yeah,
Yeah,
divides or something? Yeah,
it clogs you. I mean, if
right.
you're diving into your own will, how
Uh
can you
huh.
be open to the creator of the entire universe?
Mm-hmm. So
And
it reminded me of a Richard Rohr quote that I pulled up, and it was, "We cannot attain the presence of God because we're already totally in the presence of God. What's absent is the awareness." And I love that quote, and I feel like it speaks to what we're talking about. Like it's really just, and that's what I meant by distraction. Like anything that's clouding our vision, or like you said, even pornography, that's a distraction, you know?
it's a distraction.
Yeah, and it's like you're just focused on something that is not feeding the part of you that is meant to be alive in this existence in the best way possible. You know, like
Yeah.
you, what is it that, what are the things? So I want to come back to that because I'm asking you specifically. Obviously meditation has played a big part in bringing harmony to you and your own spirit and your body. Can you give me another example of something that is doing something similar, that is bringing harmony between you and God in this life?
Let me think here. I mean, for me, I like to be outside and just sit outside and just look. Like we have a little river. Actually, probably the last place I ever physically saw you and your family was at Meldrum Bar in
Wow.
Gladstone. Well, I
Yeah.
go down. I live right by there, so I try to go down there and just sit and just I bring my binoculars and look at the birds and stuff. And I can't really walk super good anymore. Most people will go on a hike and things like that, but I just kind of sit there. And another thing that I do is I like to draw and do art kind of stuff. And I will play the same thing over and over again. So I'm not distracted by the noise. And I have to have noise because I have so many kids and stuff going on around here. And I'll just draw and basically it's like a meditation for me. When I do that, it's like I'm praying because my mind is just gets into that flow. And when I'm drawing, I don't even know what I'm drawing. I'm drawing random stuff. It's just whatever happens, happens. But that's something that I seek to do when I want to feel like I want to connect. I want that that syncing up that I can sense.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I use that I really enjoy that religions and stuff have used for a long time is like I like incense and those kinds of things because it's I don't know, it's something about us, the way that we can hit our senses with this and it's associated with something. And another thing that I do is I like to use prayer beads, especially when you're in a lot of pain. I find it really helpful. I don't have like a certain prayer that I do. I've done all kinds of different ones.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's about the seeking. It's about the seeking of harmony. So that's something that I do, and I've tried to encourage my kids, or at least I'll tell them, hey man, this is what I'm doing. And you're see what my disease does. There's a lot of times when you're just kind of going for days and days and days of being in pain. And actually, at the beginning of this year, I wasn't even able to walk from the end of January almost all the way to the beginning of May. I was in bed and I was not able to walk. And that was a crazy spiritual experience for me.
Did tell me how you handle, like, I mean, obviously you're taking some medications to help with some things, but like how are you handling not getting depressed?
Well, I think it's okay to get depressed. I do get depressed. I will be
Mm,
sad. And what's interesting about that is when I was at Warner Pacific and taking those classes, one of the teachers there introduced me to something that I had never thought of. And I'm sure you guys know all about it, but it's like suffering in the desert. How monks and these people and even Jesus, they went to the desert. And it's really the desert of your life that you know who you are.
mm,
You really find out what you think. You really find out what kind of person you want to be. And in the desert, when you're alone, all you have is God and you're depressed and you can't see out of it. And one thing that I've been very thankful for is I've always been hopeful. And in those times, I've always had some small piece of hope. And like my boys that still live with me, my 20-year-old boys, they've carried me to the bathroom to poop. They've washed me. They've taken my pee. They've fed me. They've helped take care of my little girl. I mean, they've seen me just going through agony, not able to use my hands, all these things. And I've always told them, guys, don't worry. no matter what, I'm not going to kill myself because I need to know what happens. And I truly believe God. I can't, I just feel like I wouldn't get to see the end of the story, if that makes sense. And I love stories. And I know it sounds crazy to say that, but I try to be open with my kids. I'll say, like, there's some days I wish I could just end it, but I just have to trust. And
Mm.
I just have to trust God that, and I use the word Jesus because for me, Jesus is a very important teacher. I follow Jesus. I don't follow his church or the people that
Mm.
say they do. And that's okay. And I don't need you to be a Christian. And there's other religions and there's other people. I can't tell them they're not seeking God and all that. I just can't, you know what I mean? It gets back into I don't want to tell people that. But for me, I do. I follow Jesus' teachings. And guess what? They're pretty freaking hard. And I basically only focus on a few of them. Look at the plank in your own eye. That's a huge one. That's hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
Love people, treat people as you want to be treated. I mean, that's hard enough.
Right.
So for me, those are the ones that I really try to focus on. And like the Good Samaritan, those are ones that I've really tried to just follow. And what's really interesting when we were talking about Jesus and all these things, and what's things that are going to be happening, like yesterday, they announced that they believe that they found life on Mars. I don't know if you know that or not, but NASA announced it. And if you go on YouTube and all that, and yep, this is where we're going to get into the real hippie part, folks. There is, if you take a little second, and I'm really excited that NASA did that because people are going to start to look at Mars. M- there could be structures on Mars. There could have been people on Mars way into the unknown history, unknown past. And like when we go to Earth, the oldest human bones that we have are found in Morocco, and they're 300,000 years old. And I've always been fascinated with science and all these kinds of things. And then we have the James Webb Telescope. The James Webb Telescope, we are able to now see deeper and further, and it's breaking what we thought of this universe. We think that we could be within a black hole, that the universe is like a foam. We are only perceiving a piece of it. And this is where the deconstruction part comes in. Because if you're going to hold on hard to the evangelical line, these other pieces don't fit. And I'm telling you, information is only growing. But I feel like for me, the message of Jesus and his teachings and all that way is here to help us have harmony with God. And I think everything that was happening here in America for tens of thousands of years before we came, I believe that God was wanting people to have harmony with him there too.
Mm.
And I feel like God wanted us to have harmony in Africa with what they're doing and in Tibet.
So I hear you talking about harmony with God in many different contexts, and I think it's a really cool way to interpret your not only your own experience but also how you perceive other people's experiences. So, you know this, I'm sure. You've listened to every episode. I know that you know where I'm at, that I have deconstructed to the point of I'm an agnostic atheist. Like I'm willing to be convinced there's a God, but as of now in my life, I would say I don't see the evidence for that. I know you've thought about this. I would love to hear your interpretation of that view of things, what what you perceive in somebody who lives their life that way, because it's interesting, the things that you describe, like what do I say, like items and practices that you use to connect with God, I also find a lot of value in, like incense, prayer beads,
Mhm.
meditation. All those things are a regular practice of mine, but I personally would not say I'm using them to connect with God. I find that I'm connecting with myself. That's my perception of it,
Mhm.
is that those things bring me deeper into myself and give me a clearer picture of the true, authentic inner self that only I know. So I would just, because it's interesting, because I could say the same things you said, only with a different filter
Yeah.
in front of it. Like I am not believing in a higher power or God. So I just find this very curious that two people can be
Yeah.
utilizing the same things, right? But like connecting to very different sources. So I would love to hear like your perception on that, your thoughts on that. Yeah, anything you can share.
Well, As far as like when, well, the main thing is for me, I don't ever hear someone like say you saying that doesn't. Oh my God, Carrie Joe, I gotta get you. You gotta think what I think. Oh my God, here, let me get you on the phone. Let me email you this. I don't feel that way. I can't. When we close our eyes at night, it is us, and for me, whatever else is there, and from God, our consciousness, we're just using the words that we have, and we can't understand everything, and we have these senses, and we're limited in this life by what we can perceive. And I don't know. When I hear that, I just think, you know what? I just try, I just try to be a conduit for whatever I feel like. I don't know. I don't walk up to somebody and say, God told me to heal you. It's nothing like that. But I don't know. I don't feel like a panic. Does that make any sense? I don't have any urgency to make you think what I think. I think that it's okay if you whatever I don't know. I just when I think that I don't even think about it like negative or bad because
Or that it's
I
very
don't
different.
oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not answering this very well, but I'm trying to think here.
I was
I don't
thinking
know. I
about
don't
it
really.
not being very
Go ahead,
different.
Anna.
Sorry, like it's not very
Yeah,
different. Like it's like she's using different language, but same
yeah.
tools. You're using, I mean, that's really what it boils down to is different language, same tools. Because like you said, that's what your terminology that you're using. But I'm gonna guess that when Joe uses her prayer beads or her meditation time and incense and things like that, that or even nature and things that we all are trying to use to try to connect deeper within ourselves. Really, what we're doing, like Richard says, is there's already the presence of God in us. So it's like, Carrie Joe, you're connecting with your own presence, which ultimately is fueled by, and some people's perspective, the power of God, right? Or the life of God, or and God is, like you said, Jake, like I'm also at this point where I'm like he, she, it,
It doesn't
they.
matter.
I mean, it's like the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you can call it whatever you want. Okay, so for Carrie Joe, she's talking about her own consciousness, her own. And I know Carrie Joe, you probably, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you do still have that, like, what if there is something,
Oh, for
like
sure.
we all
That's the
do,
agnostic
right?
part of me. Yeah, like I'm
Right.
I'm almost like overly aware, constantly looking. Like I'm looking for the evidence. I'm trying to make sense of my experience. And like I so desperately, I've said this to you, Anna, like I so desperately want there to be some kind of higher power or presence at work in our lives. And I'm just not at the point where I'm able to perceive that if it does exist. Or maybe my psyche is unwilling at this point for whatever reason, if it does exist. I don't know. But yes, like I want there to be. Like I want there to be something to try to make sense of. But
Mm-hmm.
that's
So
probably
there's,
why I continue to do things and engage with things
mm-hmm,
like, incense and prayer beads and meditation, because that's opportunity, right? Like I'm trying to create opportunity for something like that to, I hate the word manifest, but that's the only one I can think of here. Like I'm creating a space in which I feel like that could happen. And so until
mm-hmm.
that happens, I will hold loosely to my agnostic atheism, but always with this kernel of hope that I hope I'm wrong. Like I really hope so. I just have not been it hasn't been proven otherwise to me at this point in my life. That's all.
Would you say you also, like you and I listen to the telepathy
Yeah,
tapes, like we listen to some of this content, or even have some experiences, like you practice Reiki or have, and
right.
it's like there's clearly something invisible connection happening between us as humanity, right? And so we could just say that it's invisible and leave it at that, or we can say it's invisible and say because there's a reason we're all connected, and there's more beyond what we experience, and we don't know what it is, and so because of just knowing that there is more beyond what we can see, you automatically can just insert, well, let's just call that God.
Right. And
Anything.
that's what Neil deGrasse Tyson has talked about. It's called the God of the gaps. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really fascinating because that's where a lot of people and Christians they use it a lot to like explain things away and like just claiming the God of the gaps for things that we just don't know scientifically yet. And so, yeah, like that actually the concept makes sense because we are limited. Like Jake, you alluded earlier, like we can't perceive a lot of things in this world. Even just scientifically, we know that. Like we know there are energy fields, there are certain things that are like Reiki, like there is shit happening there. I don't know how to say it, but there definitely is. And people who are on the more spiritual side will say like it's God moving, it's this like spirituality connectedness. I'm not totally convinced of that. Maybe, I mean, it might be, but personally I think it's just like energy shit happening, like stuff that we can't
Mm,
physically perceive most of the time. I think we get glimpses
mhm,
here and there. Like I think Jake had
mhm.
glimpses, like with the legs and the lady. Like that's certainly a glimpse outside of like our normal perceptibilities.
Right.
Like
It's bananas.
I don't see white legs walking through my kitchen unless they're me, but like they're attached to my body. So, but yeah, like it's just so interesting to. I think you nailed it, Anna. Like when I put Jake on the spot, I apologize for that. But
Oh,
I was
you're
just curious
okay.
because I feel like you've thought a lot about this stuff. Like with atheists versus somebody who's even hyper spiritualizing everything. We're all experiencing roughly the same gambit of things.
Yeah.
Not the same circumstances, but we're all having similar experiences emotionally, just physically even in various ways, but we can use different words to describe the same thing. And that's where at the end of the day, I feel like, yeah, that is how we're all connected. That is literally the through line in humanity. The most evil person in the world, the most righteous person in the world, we are all having a human experience. And that's the connectedness. And so for me, that's kind of what do I air quote? Like, I guess um, the God force or the life force that everyone is experiencing and what makes us all connected is that we all have something in common, all of us, no matter how vastly different we might feel from someone. There's that connectedness, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. And so I guess if I had to label something a God, I would say that connectedness would be something higher than ourselves, outside of constraints of communication or definition. But it's fascinating to think about. And I think it's really cool also to glimpse on that through the different lenses, like through a Christian lens, through a Buddhist lens, through an atheist lens. It's kind of neat to be looking at the same, let's just say, microscopic cell, but through different microscopes, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
you might just be seeing a different facet of the cell. And it's different, but still beautiful and still part of the same thing. So I don't know. I'll step off my soapbox now, but thanks for
No, it's
entertaining.
beautiful.
Thank you for
It's
entertaining my thoughts and questions on that.
Well, no, like with consciousness, and this is why Christianity can't deal with it. And so that's why this deconstruction of Christianity that's happening is awesome because we can start to think about consciousness. Consciousness is wild when you really start dipping your toes into it. And the way that I kind of interpret it is I'm in this plane of existence, and I think that I have an opportunity to have harmony with God in it. And there is something beyond this physical life that we see. And I will have interaction with God in that. And I don't know if all the answers are met when I go there. They probably aren't. There's probably so much more. So I just see it like here, we're here to have this interaction and try to seek harmony with God and this earth. And I feel the earth works perfect without us. That's the crazy part. The earth is being destroyed by us. We don't have harmony with what God made. And we're just all about materialism and roads and this and this and this and just changing it. And it's fighting us. And what's so amazing about everything that's we've built as humans? It could all be gone like that. And so for me, translates even more to that this time that we're here is just temporary. And this is something I really want to talk about here. This is going to connect with consciousness. I promise, Carrie Joe.
You're
The
good.
Aborigine people have a very unique way of looking at time. And I don't have all the answers with it, but it's something that's really fascinated me. They're one of the oldest cultures that we still have some knowledge about. And they see time as before we're born and this, please, I'm no expert. This is just you've already listened to it. If you're this far into this podcast, you already know. But they
Yeah.
perceive time as like this is the dream. Like we're here in real, like this reality plane, and then we go to the dream time. So before you were born, we didn't know your name. And then you live your life here, and then when you leave, we mourn you for a couple days, get rid of all your stuff, give it away or burn it. This is what they did, or still might do. And then we don't speak your name again because you're not in this plane anymore. Because we only know your name that's here when you're here.
Hmm.
And I don't know why I found that so interesting because it's almost like with our souls, our spirit, our consciousness, fill in the Mad Lib what you need. We are dipping down into this existence and then we're leaving it. And it's a flash. But this is just a piece of what is happening with what we are. And maybe that's me trying to have meaning, and maybe that I'll die and it's just blank and black, but I don't know. I don't think so.
I think
And
that
if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter.
right, exactly.
Right?
That's actually kind of freeing in a way to think about it like that, because so many times we're consumed, or we can be as humans consumed with the legacy that we leave, or like, what is going to be lasting after we die, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and whether it's fame or accomplishments or like residuals of whatever we have done on this earth while we were here.
Whatever our monument that's left behind for us, whatever that looks like. But we do think about that,
Exactly.
humans.
Absolutely. And so there's something freeing about this Aboriginal concept that it's over and you are done and we release you.
You go back to the
Even
dream where you were.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that whatever you did on this earth, it mattered in the moment that you did it. It impacted people, but what it really only mattered, and that brings us back to this being present, which is my
Hmm.
I'm constantly, struggling inside of myself to like think about the past and get depressed, or think about the future and get anxious. And it's like coming back to this present moment. It's like I feel like that's what that thinking does about death, is just like brings you back to like, no, just focus on living today, and
Yeah.
when you're gone tomorrow, it'll just be a couple days later and we're not even going to talk about you anymore. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just be
Well,
present.
you're not here. You went. You left.
Mm-hmm.
That's both
Yeah.
I don't know.
depressing
And
and freeing, I think, at the same time.
why is it depressing? Why is it depressing?
I mean,
Why is it
I
depressing?
think to me, that feels depressing because like Anna, you mentioned, like, we do want to leave a legacy, especially, being parents. We can all relate to this, wanting to instill values in them, wanting them to be happy, wanting them to make the world a better place. I'm assuming that we would all share those values. If not, that's cool. We can talk about that. We can do it part two. But I just feel like my life's work as a mom, because that's been the majority of my professional career, if you will.
Well, all of us have a bunch of kids. Yeah, we've poured
Yeah.
our life into these people. Yeah.
Yes. And I would hate it. It kind of pains me to think that all that time and energy investment that I willfully and joyfully and happily have done, it is not after I'm gone. But then I have to flip that on its head and be like, well, that's not true, because they're continuing on and they will instill their children and they will instill their children. And I just have to believe that there is the ripple effect. Like, we do have a ripple effect. Sure, the strongest ripples are in that moment, just like an actual ripple, but there
Hmm.
are ripples that continue beyond that. So I'm going to refuse to accept that part of the not speaking your name after you're gone thing.
Well, I know but see, that was the thing that I really like to think about because it's so
It
counterintuitive
is.
to the way our culture even thinks. We
Yeah,
want
it's
statues, damn it,
I mean, I don't even give a fuck about a statue. I don't need a
Well, you know what I
statue.
mean, though. But in a general sense, we want a
Yeah.
gravesite. We want
Yeah.
a tombstone. We want that urn. It's so different than what I had perceived it. So
Yeah.
that's why I just wanted to get this out here because it's such an interesting thing. It's so different.
It
And that's what
is.
people
It's
in that part of the
challenging.
world were thinking 80 plus thousand years ago. And I think
Mm,
that's super interesting. And I
yeah.
think there's something there.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
cool, maybe there already are studies being done on how that affects the day-to-day culture. Because It
Yeah.
has to. I mean, they would not be
Well,
thinking about the ripple effect. They would not be worried about shit, the mistake I made today is going to carry on for generations. Like they're not going to think like that. So I think man, there has to be a
I really don't
sociological.
know. But what I do, little that I do know, is that the Aborigine culture, they would try to get their things done and then spend the rest of the day making art and music to connect with the dream time.
Mm.
Wow.
And that, I mean, that really resonates for me and all my little music artsy friends, because to me that's what it's all about. And when I make music, when I make music or art or anything, I feel something.
Mhm.
And for me, I associate that with a connection with God. If somebody says it's just a chemical reaction or whatever, well, that's okay too, buddy. And so that was really what attracts me, because it's like it's not a life of buildings and monuments. To me, it gets back to what I'm trying to do: is how can I have harmony with God? How can I have harmony with consciousness? How can I have harmony with the consciousness that's around us? There's consciousness in birds, there's consciousness in your dog, there's consciousness in your cat, there's consciousness in everything. Well, there's something there. There's something to that. And I don't know, we're just with the internet and the access to all this information, people that lived before us would have been pegged into a certain hole and they could never see out of it because they didn't have an opportunity. But now we do. So I don't know. I think we're living at an awesome time. Even though there's bad things happening, well, that's because we have so much information. We're living at an amazing time. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I agree.
But yeah.
Something you just said, connect, like when you're in your creative time, you connect with the dream, or it's a time that you can connect with the dream or whatever. And
Yeah.
I love that. It's like that really is, I think that, I mean, I've never really been able to really put words to like, why is it that when we are creative as people, that it fuels some part of us deep down, like how do you describe or define what is actually happening in that process? Like why is creating actually fueling me when
Why
we've
does that do something?
monetized,
Yeah.
right? Like we've monetized it, we sell art and we sell our things we make or whatever, or we get these accolades and praises for things that we make sometimes, but why do I feel motivated just to create for the sake of creating,
Yeah.
like to not get money or accolades or anything? Like what is it really giving me? And you said it, it's like it's a meditation time, it's also a time to just connect and like in a way like connect with this reality or aka dream,
Hmm.
that in a way that is really intimate, you know?
Yeah. Well,
So
if you
I
think about it, with human history and music, we've only recorded probably 1% of all human music that's ever been made. Think about that.
Wow.
That is
That's
crazy.
nuts.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that amazing? I think about that all the time. And when you go on Spotify, you're like, wow, there is so much music. I mean, but there's so many songs that no one is going to hear. I mean, Neanderthals had flutes. Neanderthals had music. The, the further we go into studying, the smarter Neanderthals are becoming, the more types of humans there were. And I believe that they were trying to connect with God. I think that we're trying to connect with God. I think that our industrial age has tried to forget that because it's focused on things. It's focused on material things. I love a flushing toilet. I love running water. I love all those things, but our focus is off. We're just so, we think we've done all this stuff. And I don't know, it leads back when you were saying, Carrie Joe, about monuments and all that. I love this thing that people have seen that pops up on the internet. It's like a little sliver picture of the earth. Have you ever seen that? It's just like one little dot in this like universe, and it says everything that's ever happened, every person that's ever lived, every book, everything is right there. And you realize how tiny we are, how it's literally a piece of sand in the insane, vast like, reality that we live in.
Hmm.
And then that's where I go back to consciousness, because I feel like consciousness goes beyond all those things
Mm.
and it connects us. We want more. We want it all. I feel like this body filter. and that's how I perceive it. The body filter that I have is on purpose. I believe that God, this is just me talking, but I think that God wants to interact with us with these limitations. And that I think that it's a special thing. And our bodies are machines that we can't even wrap our heads around really how to recreate, honestly. I mean, look at a human body. It's an insane machine
Hmm.
that is a vehicle for our consciousness, is how I see it. That's how I perceive it.
Yeah.
Because like the telepathy tapes and all those different things, I haven't watched all those, but there is something happening. And the bottom line for me, it's just about harmony, seeking harmony. And another thing, I really want to encourage any person that is has deconstructed. Please look at the opportunities that I think that we missed with Native Americans.
Mm.
Please look. There's a book that I would encourage people to read. It's Fool's Crow. I think it's like Wisdom and Knowledge or something like that. And there's two books. There's one that's autobiography, and then this one was written towards the end of his life. And it is absolutely fascinating. I've been reading that book, and so many connections in my head were being made about harmony with God. And I think you would benefit if you just took a look at it.
Awesome. That's great. We'll add a link to it on the show notes as well.
Guys, I'm really thankful I got to talk to you, and I'm really thankful that you're having these conversations.
Story I know is going to encourage some people. I know it's encouraged me. Like your approach to handling the challenges of life and just embracing and loving the people around you is inspiring. And I want you to know that I think it's important that people know your story.
I appreciate being able to share all that with you guys. So thank you.
All
Thanks so
right. Love
much,
you,
Awesome. Thank you
Jake.
buddy.
So
guys.
good to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Yeah, good to meet you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
I love
Man.
him. You
Isn't he
you
just the
undersold
sweetest?
him, which I feel
I
like
know.
that's all you can do is undersell him because
Because
I mean you talked him up
Jake.
big. And I was expecting good things and I was like, damn, he's even better. He's even better than
No.
Anna was mentioning. Like, you can't encapsulate him in words. He's the best.
He is such a cool guy. I just love Jake so much.
He
And
is
we always have, even back to 1995. It's funny when we were doing the interview with Mikey and he was reminding me of things that he already knew about me because he's known me forever, right? And it's like, I feel the same way about Jake. Like, this is the same Jake, except he's way more open, like
Mhm.
way more, like his worldview is exploded, right? But it's still Jake. I love it. I mean, he's freaking hilarious too. Like you hang out with him, just sit down with him and just talk just about not whatever you want for like ever. Like he's literally going to crack you up. It's so we have to have him back
We
on the
do.
show.
I
know Jake and I know he's got more to say than that.
Yeah, and I do feel like, it was like he couldn't get it out fast enough. He had so much to share, and I want to hear more because I know he has more thoughts on different topics too, and I want to hear those too because he's such a breath of fresh air, and yeah, I just really like him.
Yeah, he breath of fresh air is the right phrase to use for him. I feel like whenever I talk to Jake, I just get so excited because it's so fun to like we've talked about speculating wildly before and talk about somebody who speculates wildly. Like it's so fun because nothing you can say is going to surprise him or offend him or anything. He's here for it all.
Yeah,
So, I love it.
yeah, really cool guy. Thanks for sharing him.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Man, that was fun. Good podcast.
That was awesome. All right, I think we're ready to
I
wrap
love you,
it. Yeah,
girl. You ready to wrap it up?
go ahead, do your thing.
Peace out, my buddies.
And I'm always gonna stick with the OG. Peace out, motherfuckers.
I love it. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, girl.
Hey, if you made it this far, damn, you're a rock star. Thank you so much for listening to us and let us know who you are. We want to hear from your sweet little face. Check back in for the next episode to experience more hippie nonsense, talk more heresy, and share more laughs.